Welcome back to the channel everyone, and welcome back to Speyside Cooperage, and in this video we're going to take a look at whether you should buy a sherry cask of whiskey. So welcome back to the channel, and as I say, this video is about whether you should buy a cask of sherried whiskey or not. Now, if you've not watched our previous video about the history of sherry casks, I strongly recommend that you go and watch that first before you start watching this one. We all know that sherried whiskey commands a premium. We all know that sherried whiskey tastes gorgeous, but should you go and buy a sherry cask? And this is sort of one of the myths that I'm going to try and debunk with you really. Now, if you go to a broker and try and buy a cask of sherried whiskey, it's very unlikely, unless you're buying direct from the distillery, that that whiskey started life in a sherry cask. It's more than likely it started out life in an ex-bourbon cask or ex-bourbon cask and was then re-racked into that cask by the broker in order to add the value to it. Now, what I would suggest that you do, instead of paying that premium to the broker, is take that profit for yourself, because it's a very easy process to do. So the first thing before we go any further, you need to get a delivery order for your cask. If you've bought a cask and you've not got a delivery order from it, it isn't your cask. It belongs to the company who sold it to you. So first of all, go back to them, go back and watch our other videos about delivery orders and make sure that you have full title to that cask. Now, once you own the full title to your cask, let's say that you've bought a bourbon hogshead because it was cheaper than the sherry hogshead. You can come to a place like this, Speyside Cooperage, and they can supply you with a very, very good quality ex-sherry, brand new sherry cask for around £700. That can then be shipped to the warehouse that your cask is lying, and they'll be able to do a process known as re-racking, where they'll be able to decant the whiskey from your old cask into the brand new cask. Now, there's a few benefits of doing that. One, you get to decide on the type of sherry finish that's in there, whether it's an ex-Oloroso, ex-Pedro Ximénez cask, etc. And you will also get to decide on the nature of that, whether it's a fresh fill or a refill cask. But that means that you've taken a bourbon hogshead and made it into a sherry hogshead, which will add money and value to that cask, and it will add to its commercial appeal. But before you start jumping ahead and thinking that I'm going to do this with all my casks, think of a few things here. The sherry casks that are produced today, as we said in that previous video, they're designed for the rapid maturation of whiskey. I would argue that they're normally only used for a rapid finishing period of whiskey. So if you go to somewhere like Speyside Cooperage and buy your fresh fill hogshead, after 2 years, if you're not careful, that might overwood the whiskey. You might over-influence that whiskey and it'll just be too sherry dominant. Now that's where you can sort of speak to and help refine your selection. So you might go for a second fill or a third fill cask rather than a fresh fill if you're looking for that longer term maturation program. Now, one of the other things that you really need to consider here is how commercial will sherry be when you're looking to sell your cask. So we all know that sherried whiskies are very commercial right now in 2022, but what's that going to be like in 5, 10, 20 years time when your cask is coming to maturation? I would argue that it's a very good thing to keep it in a relatively neutral vessel for your maturation period, if that makes sense. And then when you're coming to the last 5, 3 or 2 years, whatever, that's when you might start looking to finish that whiskey. Because once that whiskey's matured in that cask, in 10, 15 years time, it might have developed a very, very beautiful flavour, and a lot of bourbon whiskies are absolutely fantastic and people discredit them quite often over sherried whiskies, but you might not need to finish it in a sherry cask. But let's say that the market is still strong for sherried whiskey and you've got a whiskey that has got the profile and that's robust enough to handle the re-racking, then that's when you'll try and refine it to sort of what sherry profile, Oloroso, Pedro Ximénez, etc. will be most suited for your whiskey. So there we have it. My advice would be not to buy a sherried cask of whiskey directly from a broker, because it's quite likely that they've re-racked that and are taking the profits on themselves. The exception to this rule is if you're buying directly from the distilleries and you're taking a newly filled cask, because that will likely go into that cask from the first instance. You just need to be careful though that you don't over-influence that whiskey with the wood, because at 10 years old you might have a whiskey that's absolutely ready for bottling, and 10-year-old whiskey doesn't command a premium. You really need to get your casks to 15, 18 years plus in order to command a premium price. So if you go too heavy with your influence early on, it's going to be detrimental for your maturation program later on. If you've got any questions or comments, get in the comment sections below, and any questions I'll be happy to help.